Well, Dad, I just got to say that you are an egomaniacal, miserable, old bastard. And you have lost your touch. You've lost your touch with your business. You've lost your touch with your fan base. You've lost your touch with reality. You've lost your touch with me. And you've lost your touch with your grandsons. But you know what? All that does, everything that he says, it just fuels me. Because it is my destiny. It is my absolute destiny to be in control of Monday Night Raw. It's all going to stop. It's all going to stop. The chairman's tyrannical. The chairman's tyrannical grasp on everything, that stops. The authority, that stops. All of the backstabbing, all of the backstage politics, that all stops because that is choking the life out of this business. There are so many guys with so much talent that never get a break. And then there are those that I see that get all the breaks but have no talent. That stops, that stops, that stops, that stops, that stops, that stops, that stops.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter. Ching, ching, bling, bling, patent pockets.
WAR Weekly here on the Spreaker Web Radio Network and at our website, WrestlingAudioRevolution.com. And on the line, as he always is, the one and only host with the most, pimp with the limp, Sean, the Commissioner Cunningham. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you, sir, this very busy week?
Yeah, I hear that you have had some rough times lately.
I did. I was ill with a bit of a winter cold that was rather nasty, but I hear it's going around for a lot of people that are friends with you and I and other people around both of us. So I've survived. Hopefully everybody else does too, and we can move on to bigger and better and warmer and just better things than winter.
Well, Sean, this Saturday, WWE Network, the very first special ever from Canada. We're getting it right here in the hometown of WAR, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And they've built some interesting things. But before we get into that, Sean, talk to us about life. What's been going on, man?
A lot of life.
We miss you. We miss you. What have you been doing for fun lately?
Well, it's not so much been fun. It was last week was recovery from illness, and for me as a sports fan, it's time to get ready for baseball season, which means I get to read and watch as much spring training baseball as I can, and enjoying the change in weather, which is always good, and getting ready for Easter, as Easter's in a few weeks before we even get to WrestleMania.
Someone's going to feed you.
That's right.
On the baseball tip, I got to say, before we go any further, too, happy birthday to Coney Funk.
Yay!
WAR alumni, Coney Funk, the laughing man, the human laugh track.
How did he get that nickname, eh?
Because he used to just sit in the studio when we record in Parkdale there.
That's right.
And he was the roommate of Mike Pignataro, who was the producer of the show. Yes. And it was his studio and his apartment that he shared with Coney Funk. And Coney would just hang out and get stoned and get drunk, and he would just laugh. And you'd hear him laughing in the background. And at first we were like, dude, shh, we're picking it up on the mic, because we weren't. It's one of those things when something new and fresh comes along, you don't always know right away that you've struck gold, Yeah. Sometimes you just think it's an annoyance. So at first I think.
To do with it.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes new ideas, can be hard to wrap your mind around. So at first, I think the natural reaction was we're picking up something on the mic. This isn't good. We're supposed to be talking and doing a wrestling show, and we're picking up this laughing on the mic. Can you stop? And then over time, we realized that he was getting far too inebriated to be able to control his laughing or his
or listen to us.
or listen to us. Yeah, I mean, none of it was done in malice.
No, of course not.
It was all done just as an actual reflex. You know,
Yes.
You can't blame the guy. It's like blaming someone who has Tourette's for swearing. You know, it's not.
Yeah, that's about the same thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, now that we've tied all those things together, and
He's gonna so get mad at us when he hears this.
how old is that guy? Do you know?
I don't know. I read on Facebook he might be 29, but I'm not sure.
I read on Wikipedia that he's also 29, so I don't know.
Okay, it's good to know that he has a Wikipedia page.
Yes. Wikipedia, actually it is. But
Wookie?
well, have you seen the guy's face?
Yeah, it's true. Fair enough.
But you know, that's cool. Now, Sean, just
Yeah.
to sort of do a little bit of a transition here into wrestling.
Yes.
Because we're not going to hang out too long. It's going to be a shorter show today than usual. And the ramifications of this Saturday, I mean, could change everything. Technically, they could. I don't know that they will, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'm not sure
I'll
that
pick
they
your
will
brain.
because that leaves them stuck in several places.
Right.
Can I make the difference? I listened to you and Shan from last week, Vintage Update, and
Give me your review.
I noticed that you became the purveyor of hope last week, and you were much more optimistic than I've heard you in months about the state of WWE or the possible state of WWE.
I'm glad you clarified that. Because really, I'm not any more hopeful than usual.
No.
I just see the potential, and I talked at length about this for those that haven't heard it yet. You go check out last week's show. It's on our website. If you just highlight the Vintage Update thing, go to the podcast icon. You'll see the drop-down menu. Go check out Vintage Update. It'll give you the newest episode right there. We did a tribute to Hayabusa, but we also talked about that for quite a bit of the show.
Yes.
And again, I don't want people to think that I'm saying I have a feeling this is going to happen. Although I do have the feeling that Shane will win. I just don't see a way that you have built up this angle just for Shane to be beaten and then, okay, well, the stipulation is he can never come back and never hold this over Vince's head again. That's a stupid, not feel-good angle. Doesn't really feel like a WrestleMania payoff angle. WrestleMania usually is a bit of a feel-good show, and at least, you know, for the next night leads you to, okay, shit, I can't wait to see the next night to see where they're going to go with this angle. This is like the biggest angle on the show, really.
Yeah.
So to have the follow-up angle just be, well, Vince is in control and Shane can never come back, that's pretty bleak. But just the possibilities of where they could go with it afterwards with Shane in charge as a babyface GM figure, I just feel like it might be the closest thing to the product I want to see than anything else they can offer me. You know?
Well, no, and I agree with you in that sense, Mike. But one of the things that has to happen is some of the other talent on top needs to change with it, and I worry that may not happen.
Bottom line, I feel like this change is, as are most good changes in WWE, it will be very short term, and they will fuck it up, and we will be right back where we started. It is going to be short term great, and that's all I have hope for. You take what you can get right now, frankly.
Unless somebody finally realizes that they need to change things up at the top.
You're talking about Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn finally realizing something?
Yeah, I realize the unlikeliness of that as it comes out of my mouth.
Sometimes you just need to be brought back down to earth, though, you know?
Yes. I know.
End of the day, no matter what storyline is going to be played out on TV with Shane taking over the company and whatever, no matter how much people think Steph and Hunter are running the show, the bottom line is the two people that are truly running the show are still Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. So unless they step down and retire together and hold each other's hands and jump off a cliff together,
yeah,
I don't think any real change is coming again for quite some time.
But then again, I almost wonder if this is if there is some change coming, that there's change coming out of necessity. You talked about the word necessity last week too. You look at the amount of injured top star guys you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to WrestleMania with Taker. You don't know what you're getting. You have Shane McMahon, who hasn't wrestled a match in 7 years. 46-year-old Shane McMahon, who's not a wrestler anyway. You have you lost Daniel Bryan. You don't have Seth Rollins yet, although there's rumors that he might be coming sooner than he was expected to.
Mm-hmm. I don't think in time for Mania, though.
No,
I don't think there's any
I don't
chance
think
of that.
so either. But
Although I could see him being at Mania.
I agree. I just think I almost wonder if there needs to be a change at the top temporarily out of necessity. Is my point.
But again, that comes down to short term.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And I think you're right. I think short term, right after WrestleMania, people are going to feel good.
Yes.
I know it may not look it on paper. I know that it may not have been feeling very special with the way that they've been building WrestleMania this year. It's been a terrible build.
Yes.
Now we do have this it's not a pay-per-view, but a special event on Saturday, and that's going to be the final stop, and then things are really going to be solidified.
Well, I was saying this to somebody the other day. I'm calling this event a correction to WrestleMania.
Interesting. So you feel as though big shakeup.
Not a huge shakeup, but at least to make everything make sense, you have to have everything that comes out of this event be able to connect to Mania, because right now the television doesn't.
What do you see happening?
The idea that you have to find some way to transition either back to Brock Lesnar and Dean, or that you're going to put Roman in there with Dean, or you're going to put Roman and Dean in a three-way or something. You have to find some way to come out of Saturday night believing that whatever your plan is your plan, because you don't have any more time to change it.
So do you feel as though the matches that have been set now for a while, at least those two ones at the top, Dean versus Brock and Triple H versus Roman, do you feel as though those are now being changed?
It looks like it, and I wouldn't be shocked if they were.
I think it'll be a fun show, but I really don't think that anything significant is going to change too much. I don't think that the top matches are going to change. This is the warm-up program for Triple H before going and taking on Roman Reigns. And Dean is just so much hotter, so much better on the mic.
And I was going to say, the promo from Monday night was absolute gold between the two of them, I thought.
Right. Like, you get that feeling from those two that you don't get from Roman. And it's just a bizarre year. But again, like I said, as bizarre as it seems, I feel as though something will have happened that people will be excited about. I don't think the show just ends with Roman Reigns and the confetti and everybody looking around being like, who gives a shit?
Because that'll get over like the proverbial fart in church.
Right. It's going to be something bigger than that. Not to say that part won't happen, but it will be in some context that people maybe aren't expecting. Or maybe that won't even be the last match of the show.
I said that, 4 weeks ago, that they can't put that match out last.
But the idea that they're now going to abandon the Brock and Dean feud,
which I doubt.
I don't see. Now, there is the possibility as well, especially with this year's build, that Dean does win the title on Saturday and has already lost it back to Triple H by the time that match happens.
Oh, no, and I completely realize that what they could easily do is give it to Dean on Saturday and have Dean drop it by Monday.
Exactly.
And I understand that that's a possibility, too.
Right. Maybe they are worried that he won't be ready for Mania. I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We're not hearing a lot about Roman other than he had to get his face, his nose put back together again. And
all that I hope is that by the time WrestleMania is over, they figured out the Roman Reigns puzzle. Do you know what I mean? That's all I really want out of this company right now.
I still think the Roman Reigns puzzle is to turn him heel.
Well, everybody knows that. They don't want the guy that they see as the future John Cena, the future charity guy, the guy going in and doing the Make-A-Wish. They don't want him being a heel, even if he's going to turn and be that babyface later down the line. They don't want that history.
No, I know they don't.
So that's why. That's why they're not turning him heel.
And I understand. Is there the possibility of putting Brock and Dean in that title match?
I've thought of that too, actually. I've thought of that absolutely 100%.
Okay, so
I've already considered that.
Okay.
And I have no problem with that at all if that's what they want to do.
No.
I just think, especially with this Triple H program, we're really seeing that Dean Ambrose is a main event guy. And we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg.
No.
With him.
No, I realize that too.
The more this guy gets freedom, the more that they believe in him, and he gets to do it on his terms. I mean, it's going to knock it out of the park. Well, I'm really confused with this product right now, and that's fine. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm interested. I'm interested to see where things end up by the time WrestleMania goes off the air.
I don't know. What do you think about Sami Zayn being moved up before WrestleMania?
It's good, but I mean, this isn't going to be a one-on-one match, unfortunately.
No, it's not.
It's going to be a multiple-person match. It's going to have a lot of good guys in it.
So far, I see like 4.
Yeah, Neville will be in it.
Kevin Owens,
Yeah.
Sami Zayn,
Yeah.
Neville, and The Miz so far.
Neville and The Miz. Who else, I guess, could they put in there?
They could. I don't know what they're doing with Dolph. They did some weird.
Yeah, Dolph will be in there probably. You're right. Dolph will be in there.
Although Dolph was put in a whole different set of circumstances that had nothing to do with that this week. Dolph was put in there against Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett in a 3-on-1 match.
Right. Which brings up the whole match on this Saturday with the New Day.
Yes.
They will be taking on the League of Nations. They're moving that match. It's pretty much all the matches that they had planned before for WrestleMania and scrapped are now being moved to Roadblock. So now we have Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar, which was one of the original programs. And then the New Day and the League of Nations now being moved up to Roadblock. And there's actually like plans regarding the New Day right now and where things stand following WrestleMania.
Are they going to babyface them finally?
Yeah, I would assume that's it. But it does bring up the question, if they're facing the League of Nations, and the big plan coming out of WrestleMania for that match was, again, like you say, to have the New Day now fully babyface.
Yeah.
And they were going to be the babyfaces in that match anyway. But just in finally embracing it and then coming out with it and making the merch money that you can make off of it. And
off the New Day shirts and the colors and the
there's
and
a big babyface run. There's a big
there's
babyface
money
run.
there.
Yeah. And there's no need to keep this going anymore as a heel thing because it's not a heel thing. They don't get any heel heat at all.
No.
And quite frankly, it screws up the dynamic of a lot of the matches with babyface teams that aren't as over as them.
That's right.
And when you haven't been given the freedom to say, okay, Usos, if you go out there and you're getting booed, feel free to work heel for the match. You don't have that freedom anymore.
No.
So you're waiting on someone else to give you the green light to be able to react naturally to make the match work. Match work.
That's right.
And that's what you would have done back in the day. I mean, how many matches did we see Bret Hart work heel? Just for the match. And he would have already turned himself back baby by the time the match ended,
Yeah.
That's what a good worker does,
But here's the thing. How many of these younger guys now even know how to do that?
I mean, I'm sure a lot of them naturally could come up with that on their own if given that freedom. But you're not given the freedom.
No.
So I think a lot of the guys, if they were just told, go out there and react to the crowd, however we'll make the match work, I think a lot of them would figure that out if they didn't already know it. But anyways, long story short, there is plans for the New Day. And it does involve them being a babyface act. But if the League of Nations match happens now, do they do a rematch? Like, does it become something where a big angle starts afterwards following these two factions?
I don't know.
Or is this a one-off? And they're going to be babyfaces by the time Saturday's over, and then they're going to be in the Battle Royal? Or, like, what's the New Day going to do?
They're tag champions. Don't they necessarily have to defend their
they'll
title?
defend their belts. That's a good point, actually.
At some point, don't they?
So will there be some weird multiple-man tag match? I hope not. I hope they have
we
bigger
don't
plans.
do that again. No.
What do you think of Omega and the Bucks maybe coming in?
If it was NXT, it would happen. Now.
It's a shame because it's like the best online angle right now. It really
is the New Day versus Omega and the Bucks?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Just as a side note, if you go to the YouTube channel, Up, Down, Down, that is all Austin Creed / Xavier Woods video game stuff that WWE is starting to promote when some of the other talent is involved.
Yeah, right.
In it.
I believe Omega's been on that show before.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anyways, they want the match. They know that there's contractual problems that will, not make that one an easy one to pull off. But they need opponents.
Someday.
Yeah, they need opponents. Oh, it will in a year maybe.
It will happen someday. I wanted to bring a couple things I saw on TV this week. 3 things. Sami Zayn has got more television time this week than anybody in WWE roster because he was on 3 different shows. And he's being positioned to have one of the hardest weekends come April, the first weekend of April at WrestleMania of anybody. He's going to face Nakamura on Friday night of WrestleMania weekend, and he will likely be in the Intercontinental title match on Sunday. I'm very happy for the guy. Do you have any opinions on what the long-term plan is for their use of Sami Zayn?
That's your problem right there. Long-term plan.
You don't have a long-term plan. Okay.
Right.
WWE doesn't have a long-term plan.
Right. Just like the Tyler Breeze 6-month plan, right? That they had in place. Yeah.
That's gone.
I don't even know if he'll be employed in 6 months. I'm sorry to say it.
He may not. He's very.
I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen.
He did a job to Kalisto on Raw, very clean. So I don't know if that.
That's the U.S. title. That's the U.S. champion. That's not a big deal.
But it was a 5-minute squash. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
Not good for 5
They
minutes.
treated him like a job boy, and that's what he is, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Canadian boy. Lance Storm trained him, and
Yeah.
We got nothing but love for the guy. Very talented, great gimmick, but they don't. Vince doesn't, should I say? See it.
Well, and then the other thing we're gonna see Jericho versus AJ again.
Yeah, that's cool.
And do we have any problem with that at all?
No.
We're gonna see that likely at WrestleMania. I would take a guess.
Not my way of building it, though.
No.
No,
I wasn't overly excited about the build, but
well, it's just the fact that they've already had 3 matches.
And they're gonna do another one.
AJ's only been here since January.
And he's already wrestled Jericho
3 times.
I don't.
Right? The last match at the pay-per-view was the best one they had, and I did enjoy that match a lot.
Yes.
I liked them as a team, but I knew that it was probably not the best direction to go with them,
No.
And it's already Mania season. Maybe if it wasn't WrestleMania season, there'd be more time, and we could keep the tag team together and do a slower burn, but it was a dumb name, They were a good team, but it was a dumb name, and Jericho turned heel, which I think everybody in the world expected that he would.
Yeah.
And at least now there's going to be a better dynamic in the matches. I think this will rejuvenate Jericho as well.
I agree with you 100%. My question is, how long is Jericho staying?
Probably the usual.
Is he leaving after April then?
Doesn't he usually work the one after Mania too?
Yeah, he works whatever the next one is, and then he usually takes off after that.
Is that one in April as well?
I don't have a calendar in front of me, so I can't look at it, so I don't know.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to mention, and I brought this up online off the air and didn't get a lot of response from either you or Shotgun on this. At the end of Raw, they did a little thing where the Wyatts had beat down Dean, and before Bray left, he kind of looked at Triple H, and he took his hand and he kind of tapped the belt, similar to what Asuka did to Bayley on NXT a few weeks ago. What do you think could come of that, if anything?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Wyatts. I know there's something planned for the Andre Battle Royal involving the Wyatts. The way I read it, what I had heard, the way that I interpreted it, was that it's going to come down to Bray and Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman's going to throw out Bray. That's just the way I interpreted it. I interpreted it that Braun will be the guy to come out as the babyface. But could it be something where they turn on Bray, and it's actually they remain heels, the group remains a heel faction, and Bray gets kicked out as the leader, and he becomes a babyface? Or was just something they just put in there just because they needed to write a television show, and they don't have any plans for it?
I just thought it was an interesting little thing to put in, and I get the tendency when it comes to the title, they don't put things in there without at least having an idea that they want to do something.
No, and you're right. It definitely seemed to be strategically planted on Monday Night Raw there for a reason. I don't know. I don't think Triple H is going to be the champion after WrestleMania, is he?
Well, no, and that's the other interesting thing about it, is why are you putting that there when it's been almost in a long world fait accompli for months, literally months, that Roman Reigns is going to walk out of April 3rd with the title. Unless the world has drastically changed and nobody knows what's going on. And we all know they like to do that to us, too.
It happened to him last year.
It did.
His father wanted to bite Vince's nose off.
Are you worried that WrestleMania is going to end with the flattest...
No.
No, you're not.
No, and I think anyone that is probably being a little naive.
Yes.
I hate this company, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not a defender of this company at all.
No.
But when it comes to WrestleMania, they did it last year. Everybody thought the same thing. This is going to be so flat. Roman's going to win the belt, and it's going to be the flattest Mania ever, and doom and gloom. Didn't we all hear this last year?
We did.
And then what happened?
They had Seth come down and cash in the briefcase, and it made sense.
They flipped the script, and everybody was excited after WrestleMania and looking forward to Raw the next night, right?
Yes.
That's what's going to happen again. I don't know how or why or where. I keep picturing the Shield back together. That's what I picture.
And I'm not saying I don't agree. You went in detail to that last week, and I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I heard you say it, and then I started to read things online. Seth is in the ring. Seth is doing. I'm like,
yeah.
Uh-oh.
To me, that seems logical. If you're not going to turn Ambrose heel after Mania, where are they going after Mania? Because if Roman is just going to win the belt and be babyface feel-good champion, and then the next night we're going to start the build to his next challenger for the next show, which I assume will just be Triple H again.
Yeah.
In a rematch, because they tend to be, they're quite in love with the whole WrestleMania revenge thing.
Yes, they are.
Then, geez, they need something that's going to be fire. They need something that's going to catch on fire for the next night.
Well, here's the question. Could you do the feel-good ending of WrestleMania on Sunday night? Could you turn Roman on Monday?
All Roman heel talk has been banned on this show.
All right, fair enough.
Because it's pointless.
Yeah, I know it is.
It's pointless. As much as it should happen. And if it does happen, you're a genius. The only reason I see the Shield back together is because nobody will have to turn heel. Because I think the idea of you putting them back together and making them a heel group, that's stupid.
Going to fail.
Yeah, it's just stupid because that's not the reaction they're going to get.
No.
So as much as maybe Triple H wants to turn babyface and go against a heel,
I think he does.
If you look at the way he's done those beatdowns the last few weeks, it seems like he does. But any way you look at it, the Shield, if they're getting back together, they got to be a babyface group. You cut that babyface run way too short last time. There was money to be made. There was merch to be sold. You got trigger happy. You wanted Roman now. And look at what's happened since.
14 months later.
I think,
it still fails.
I don't know about all this, man. I don't know.
I'm just trying to... at this point, we're 3 weeks or 4 weeks out. 3.5 weeks out. And we're throwing stuff up against the wall. As somebody that writes and does a podcast, it makes me nervous. As a fan, it makes me excited. Because I don't know what's coming. I'm sitting here for the first time in probably 4 or 5 years with really no clear idea of where they could go or where they should go. Because what you have is a bunch of existing talent that really may or may not be over, depending on what building you walk into at a certain night. You've got new talent with a small percentage of the fan base know, but not your WWE casual fan, coming in that we know about. We've talked about it at length on this and other shows.
Right, particularly like that AJ Styles who came in. Nobody knew him.
Well, no, I'm not saying AJ particularly. But your casual WWE fan does not know who Carl Anderson is.
But couldn't we have said they didn't know who AJ was? I think we did say that. Didn't we say that?
Oh, we said that, but we also knew that the night that he debuted and the subsequent nights was not the typical casual WWE live event audience.
He's been the most over guy on all the house shows.
Okay, yes.
So
I've read the same thing.
I mean, I think we were wrong. We all got proven wrong on that.
Okay, and I'm happy for that.
We need to really start reevaluating, what is the fan base of WWE in 2016?
Okay, then let me give you something optimistic. Not necessarily WrestleMania, but what's coming down the road in a month or two after that. This will be the summer of juniors, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you heard about this. Not only this year do we get the WWE Global Cruiserweight Series,
which is going to be fun.
A little bit of news on that. Kota Ibushi is now a freelancer. He's not under contract to DDT or New Japan. He is now a freelancer, and he will be coming to Evolve, which is Gabe Sapolsky's promotion,
yes,
and is the official feeder system now, although unofficial, but I mean, that seems to be where they're sending and where they're getting their talent from. That's the company that Triple H seems to be most linked up with right now, which I think most people are kind of like, okay, well, that's definitely
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, that's definitely for Paul watching, from the behind the curtain, probably. That's your tryout, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
How well do you move now after your neck injury? That's going to be incredible if he can get into that tournament. That's a huge game changer. One of the best in the entire world when it comes to that style. But also, New Japan will be doing their usual best of the Super Junior tournament.
Yes.
However, during July, I believe it is, they will be doing the return of the Super J Cup, which is a one-night 16-man tournament, elimination tournament. And it will be talent from New Japan. It will be talent from ROH in this tournament. It will be talent from CMLL in this tournament. It will be talent from Taka Michinoku's Kaientai Dojo promotion.
Jeez.
It will be Suzuki-gun. It will be Pro Wrestling Noah. It will be 01 and other promotions as well in Japan. It sounds like they're even trying to get, linked up with some of the British promotions as well. And unfortunately, July is going to be a bit of a busy month for me. Is that when the global thing is as well?
Yeah.
It's in July.
It starts in July.
Right, and I guess, as an attempt to compete with them, New Japan is also doing the return of the Super J Cup.
One night.
Which was, it's a one-night tournament. And I mean, it's one of the most legendary things ever for junior heavyweights. I mean, back in the 90s, you'd have a one-night tournament with, like, Liger, Suzuki, Pegasus Kid, Black Tiger, which was played by Eddie Guerrero at that time. You'd have, I think, Chris Jericho was even in one of the Super J Cups. So, I mean, it's a legendary tournament for junior heavyweights, and they're bringing it back this year. It's going to be interesting to see what WWE does on their end. But, I mean, if you have somebody as well-known as Kota Ibushi in there, I mean, that's definitely some star power.
You can tell that there's kind of this, like, underneath WWE, we're going to keep poking Japan every chance we get and do little things on the network and show them that even with our streaming network, we can kick their butt. And, because they're not using any of this stuff on the main television, but they're definitely like, here it is in NXT, and here's, they did the deal with Liger back in the summertime, and they snatched up a bunch of talent since then, and now you've got the Global Cruiserweight Series because you have this amazing platform to put 10 hours of cruiserweight matches on your network for 2.5 months during the summer, when you usually have kind of a malaise over your main product.
Yeah, so the summer should be a hell of a lot of fun, no question about it. Now, you watch all kinds of wrestling during a week.
Yes.
You watch your Raws, your SmackDowns, you watch your NXTs, you watch your ROHs, you watch your, which, by the way, Ring of Honor and the production that they've got now with this new set is pretty awesome, huh?
It does look pretty sweet. It looks very much like NXT.
Not a lot of difference.
No.
Much better than
yellow.
TNA. Much better than TNA looks right now, even.
Yes.
So Ring of Honor's in the hunt, and that's always cool to see them where they're at now. I mean, the production has always been the one thing that was always kind of holding them back. You watch your Lucha Undergrounds now, right?
I do.
Your season 1 now is being run in Canada.
Yes.
And so you're about 4 episodes in, right?
Yes, I am.
So of everything you watch in a given week, and of course you have the network and you like to go back, and I think you said recently you've been watching some ECW on TNN. That's on the network.
It is.
Okay, I got to go find that. I didn't realize that they had ECW television from that late.
They just started putting it up within the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so it's a new edition.
It's new stuff. Yeah.
But anyways, what's been the easiest thing for you to watch, Sean? What's that one thing that you sit down in a given week and watch that is like it goes by really fast because you're enjoying yourself so much? What's that show right now?
It's got to be Lucha Underground right now. Lucha Underground, the way that it's presented is something different. The wrestling is, I'm not going to say something I'm not used to, but something I haven't seen in a long time. The presentation is something that it's presented, as you pointed out, it's not presented like a wrestling show, like a sporting event. It's presented like a weekly episodic television show. Like your Law and Order and other things similar to that. Like your dramatic series with a lot of editing and polish. But it still, in a lot of ways, does look like a wrestling show with Vampiro and Matt Striker, as horrible as Matt Striker can be at times. At least it's something that resembles a wrestling show. I just like the way it's presented. I like the way that it's kind of wrestling within a dramatic story.
Yeah, production values are just through the roof. I mean,
yeah. Well, it's being produced by the same people that do Survivor and The Voice, which is Mark Burnett.
Yeah, that's right.
Is into this program.
Season 1, I've heard, is now officially on iTunes, and that's just new that they've made it available on iTunes.
The way they built the story and the owner heel character, the slimiest, makes Vince look like a Cub Scout. Dario Cueto, it's just, you almost want to take a shower after hearing him talk. Just, ugh.
I'm glad to know you've been enjoying it.
Very much so.
And like you said, it's a television series. It's a show about a fictional wrestling company. And if you keep it in that context in your brain, I mean, you can really get lost in this shit. And of course, there's a lot of things about it that are not realistic at all, but they don't need to be. And everything is consistent within the universe that it takes place. The season finales of this show, it's a 2-part season finale. Incredible, and it builds and it climaxes like a real television show does.
Now, do they do 12 or 16?
Oh, they do a ton in the first season, way too many. I forget how many it is, but it's like 1 million episodes.
Okay.
So you're a long way away from that. Yeah, you're a long way away.
What they said, the next show that I'm going to get to see has the 3-way ladder match for $100,000 in it.
Is there any particular talent that's been really standing out to you?
I like Prince Puma a lot. And the other one that's kind of stuck out to me as somebody that I had not seen before was Drago.
Drago. How do you like the ring announcer? She's good.
She's good.
And hot as hell.
Well, they have a few of those.
Yeah, there's definitely some pretty women on that show. Anyways, Sean, I think it's time we wrap this show up.
It is.
You're not going to the show on Saturday here in Toronto, right?
No, I am not going to the show on Saturday. I will be viewing it at some point before Monday. Let's just say that.
All right. Well, from myself, from the Commissioner Man, enjoy Roadblock, everybody. Could be an interesting show, or it could be a complete, placeholder of a show. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how things turn out. But I do think there's a few matches on there. Any idea who AJ's facing?
You have any number of guys that were listed, so I have not seen a full card, though. I do find it interesting there's an NXT Tag Team title match on Roadblock as well. The Mechanics, I think I saw them listed as their Revival the other day against Enzo and Cass, so... Which is not the match I want to see, but it'll still be good. All
right. Well, from myself, from the Commissioner Man, enjoy Roadblock, and we'll be back with you next week for a super show. Myself, Shotgun Shan, Sean Cunningham, the Three Musketeers of Wrestle Talk Radio. It will be Super Show 11. No way this won't be better than WrestleMania 11.
Yeah, WrestleMania 11 was kind of a dud, wasn't it?
It might even be better than WrestleMania 32, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But the Three Musketeers of Wrestle Talk Radio will be back together. Shotgun Shan will be right here riding shotgun with us. And hopefully, we will be joined by Ernest Matthews, who will be in attendance for Roadblock this Saturday in Toronto at the Ricoh Coliseum. So maybe we can get a report from inside the building. What do you think?
That would be awesome. Ernest, if you can hear us, please get in touch with us so we can set that up.
He has been summoned to war next week. He has been drafted, you could say.
Very good.
So for myself and from Sean, it's been good catching up with you, and thank you everybody for listening. Peace, love, and Sean, as we always do, you gotta tell him the rest.
Wrestling, audio, revolution.
Absolutely. Was that going to be part of the evolution? Was it something you came up with, or something that Paul came up with, or the bookers, or how did that work?
At the time, Paul didn't even know I could talk.
That I know it's something that you've talked about a billion times before, but I have to ask it.
The Commissioner, Sean Cunningham.
O'Grady's Grill and Bar, combining delicious American food with Irish warmth and hospitality. There's always an O'Grady to welcome you. O'Grady's incorporates the freshest ingredients into signature dishes like braised lamb shepherd's pie, fish and chips, hand-cut steaks, and the best burgers in Stowe. Enjoy O'Grady's cozy full-service bar featuring 14 beers on tap and specialty cocktails. O'Grady's is the perfect place for après-ski or dinner for the family.